I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey, what's going on, YouTube world? Welcome back to another episode of Underdeveloped here, and today we have a movie review. It's been a while since we delivered one of these.
It's been a couple weeks.
It's the point we were watching movies every week, you know, so we need like a little break. But yeah, let's just get into this. So the Last Voyage of the Demeter is about crew at sea. The Demeter, it's a merchant ship, so they have like a whole bunch of wooden crates on board. In one of those crates holds Dracula, evil Dracula. And it pretty much turns into Alien, where like he's taking off crew members one by one, and it turns like a horror flick really quick.
Turns into a real slasher movie.
Yeah.
On Twitter, before going into this, I saw that Stephen King was comparing it to the Hammer Dracula movies from way back in the day with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing. And I mean, it is like those are very influential horror films, and it is like those in the sense of level of gore and brutality this movie has. This is a very gory movie, so do be prepared for that much, like, you know, because some of the death scenes here are pretty vicious.
Yeah.
Like, pretty brutal stuff.
Dracula's pretty savage dude.
Yeah, it's not, like, crazy over the top, like the kind of goofy shit you would see in, like, Evil Dead, for example. It's not quite that extreme. But
feels
it's, like,
real.
Yeah, it's very brutal. That's why I use the word brutal.
Very brutal. They don't mind just completely destroying a kid.
Oh, no. This movie does not give any fucks about that.
Yeah. And eventually throughout the movie, he also gets wings, which is like pretty.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's when it gets like pretty like, oh my god, he can fly.
Yeah, we get to see some pretty creative like aerial movements from Dracula. It's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, especially like when the Asian dude when he like escapes, it's just the sky gets misty and you just hear the big whoosh whoosh of like bat like wings just flapping, and it's like, oh shit, he's fucked.
Yeah, that fucking what? I thought that's not gonna save you.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this movie was like legit. Like, I mean, I'm immune to horror films. Like, I don't really get scared about jump scares and shit. Like, I get more scared about real life shit. You know what I mean? Like, and manipulating that is like, you know, like fiction is like, all that demon shit, possession. I mean, it's like paranormal. I mean, I get it, but it's not really, doesn't really.
Yeah, I never really found
anything.
I especially never found supernatural movies specifically to be scary.
Yeah, slashers too, honestly.
A lot of them are just kind of out there.
Because the thing is, jump scares almost becoming like a fucking jump scares in itself are just becoming like a gimmick. So it's like,
I mean,
I
that's
never
true.
take it seriously.
But this movie didn't really have a lot of jump scares,
which is good. I mean, it did in the beginning. It did in the beginning.
It had a little bit in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't little with them, but I had it, and it's like whatever. But yeah, that's not in most of the movies. But like for sure, I felt like the presence of Dracula. I felt Dracula did his job at being a scary ass villain, vicious. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and you barely saw him for most of the movie.
Yeah. When you did, it was game time.
Yeah.
And because he's kind of a creature. He really went Batman this movie. Like he does a lot of disappearing acts. You see him and then you don't. You know what I mean? Like, you know.
I'm convinced this Dracula likes to play with his food.
Yeah.
I am convinced.
Yeah. He's definitely a hunter. You know. You know, and then Corey Hawkins slowly ends up becoming like more and more of the lead as more crew members die.
Yeah,
and he's the one only one that makes it to London after they had like a whole fucking Leo moment from Titanic, where like the boat's pretty much wrecked, and the last two characters are like
they're shipwrecked.
They're shipwrecked, and they're like hanging on one of the platforms.
Yeah, this time the dude gets to be Rose.
Yeah, this time the dude gets to be say, and she fucking, you know, because you know she was basically one of the only woman on the ship. She came from the village that Dracula pretty much drank.
Yes,
and you know she had a lot of bite marks, so he was like, so the Corey Hawkins character, the astronomer or the doctor, he was performing blood transfusions on her, and that helped her, and that helped it, but eventually, you know, it took over.
Yeah,
and you know her eyes turned white, and the sun hit, and she got burnt to a crisp. And that was that. And now Dracula's in London, pretty much looking like Jack the Ripper.
Yeah, he's dressed exactly like him. They're definitely sequel teasing here.
Yeah, so, and then Corey Hawkins is making his life mission to hunt that bitch down.
Oh, definitely.
So there's definitely some Dracula in London shit. You know, Victorian London, I assume?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's the time period. Because it's definitely 1800s, because they did mention steam engines, even though the ship wasn't a steam engine ship. So it's definitely 1800s.
Yeah. The movie, I think the score Rotten Tomatoes gave it is a little harsh. I think this movie is a lot. I think this movie is a lot better than a 50.
Yeah,
I think this is not doing the movie justice. Like 75, that's way more close. The audience score is way more close to what I'll give it.
Yeah, same
Actually,
here.
I even give it a little bit higher than that. I'm looking
Tiny
at like
bit, yeah.
I'm looking at like a high 70s, low 80s. Like I'm thinking like a 79 for this movie. Honestly,
Yeah.
It's a solid movie.
It's a solid movie. Like, there's nothing really that bad. Can't imagine anything like seriously super wrong with it.
It's not a perfect movie, but I mean, for what it is, like a slasher. I mean, it's good. You know.
I mean, yeah, like fucking
It's scary. Like it's scary. It's vicious.
Critics are so quick to like fucking grease horror movies.
Yeah.
They
Honestly.
really are.
I mean, this is barely. It's so horrible. It's not. It's more of like it's more like an Alien. It's a thriller.
Yeah, it's a slasher movie.
It's a thriller slasher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
With horror elements to it. It's not like a pure horror.
I mean, I guess it's not pure horror, but it's very much a slasher movie. It does have a lot of horror movie tropes. It has it has the sound design that really I feel like a lot of horror movies have great sound design, and this is one of them too, because you really feel like you really hear every little bit of the ship. You can really tell from far away when someone's knocking, when they're going to be doing stuff.
The cinematography is beautiful.
Yeah, very good movie.
Like just the gloomy skies. The effects is good of like the mist coming around. Like it really feels like, and the time period. I love the time period. So some good mise en scène, some good wardrobe, good lighting, good fucking production design, the design of the ship and whatever else. It puts you into that time period, and I think it's like the perfect time period for monsters and shit like that. I think is really interesting, and I love the black lead. You know what I mean? In a film like this.
Yeah,
you know,
he's a pretty interesting character.
Yeah, he is.
Like if there's
I thought he did a good job.
Yeah, I thought the performance was probably the best part about him.
For sure.
Because it does seem a little contrived just how much he knows. I mean, I get it. He's like he's a college-educated scholar.
One of the few black people that graduated from Oxford.
Oh, I think he went to Cambridge.
No, Cambridge, I'm saying.
Or did he?
It's one of those fancy. It's either one of the two.
It's one of those big fancy British colleges.
Only one is either Cambridge or Oxford. That's like the two major plays, and he went to those. He went to one of those major plays. I think it's Cambridge. You may be right. All right, so my score for this movie, I think I already said it. My score for this movie is about a 79. This is a good time. If you're into this if you're into the supernatural, if you're into horror films, slasher films, especially slasher films, if you're a fan of like like Alien and that kind of thing, like being stuck in a claustrophobic space with a killer, this is definitely this is definitely the movie, that.
This is definitely a pretty good time.
And actually has, a little bit of character development, has an interesting main character more than most horror films. So,
Yeah. Honestly, if you're looking for a good horror movie, this is not a bad option at all. Absolutely. Like, go check this out. And please, make sure you always, please support local movie theaters. We need more people going to the movies again. We need to have another Barbenheimer moment. With that being said, folks, please make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you all next time for more movie reviews, more reactions, and more other stuff.